Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be. My name is Sean, and I'm delighted you are joining us for today's ESBC Community Webinar. Today I'm joined by Nut Mo, MVP, and Martin Rovekamp, MVP, who will cover Unlock the Future. Are you ready for agents and AI in SharePoint? We love hearing what you guys have to say, so remember to join in the conversation about today's webinar. Our handle is @ESBC_community, and our hashtag is ESBC25. Tweet us, tag us, and tell us what you learned. Don't forget to check out our Learning Hub, which is updated with the latest blogs, ebooks, webinars, and how-to videos. You can access and view the Learning Hub by visiting our website, sharepointeurope.com, and clicking Content tab at the top. Don't let the learning stop here. Continue to keep up and stay ahead by joining us for our next webinar, Mastering Cloud Storage with SharePoint Embedded, a Modern Approach, with Jamal Abed, MVP. This webinar will take place this evening, Thursday, 20th of March at 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. CET. For more information on this webinar, please check out www.sharepointeurope.com/register for webinars. Team discounts for EPPC 25. Save 15% on 3 to 5 tickets or 20% on 6+. Join 120 plus expert sessions, learn and network. Just add your team at checkout. The discount code applies automatically. Book now at www.sharepointeurope.com/European Power Platform Conference. At FabCon Europe, you can learn about Power BI, Synapse, Data Factory, Azure SQL, Cosmos DB, Azure, Microsoft Fabric, and more. Book your super early bird sale today and save up to €700. Book now at www.sharepointeurope.com/European Microsoft Fabric Community Conference tickets. Celebrate big, save bigger. 50% off ESBC 25. Microsoft turns 50, and we're celebrating with an exclusive offer. 50 lucky winners will get 50% off their ESBC 25 ticket. Want in? Simply sign up for a chance to win, and on April 2nd, 50 winners will be randomly selected and receive exclusive 50% off code. Don't miss out. Sign up now at www.sharepointeurope.com/ESBC 50 for 50. After this webinar, we'll have a questions and answers session. Type any questions you might have into the questions box. Questions will be selected and answered at the end of the presentation. This webinar will be recorded and added to the Resource Center, where you'll be notified by email when it's available. And now, I'm going to pass you over to today's webinar presenter, Nut and Martin. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see your screen perfectly.
Yeah, super.
All right, so welcome to our webinar together with the ESPC Learning Hub, and thank you for the introductions. And of course, look forward to join, hopefully, a lot of you guys in either the Power Platform Conference later in Vienna, or the really big one for me personally, the ESPC one in Dublin. And it's kind of nice to come back home to Dublin in a sense for the ESPC community conference. So, but Martin,
yeah,
tell us what we will talk about today.
So likewise, welcome to our webinar. Thank you for introducing. So today we want to talk about agents and how you can use SharePoint agents or agents and AI in SharePoint. And we brought some examples, and we had also prepared some nice looking pages for you. So Knut, maybe we just introduce you.
Yeah.
Coming?
Let's do that. I can click the screen now, and then you can do the rest. Yeah. So Knut is my name. I have been working with SharePoint since the early beginning, I think. and of course has been doing like community events and spoken also multiple times at the European SharePoint conference, and are really happy to be here today with Martin, talking about agents and Copilot and SharePoint, which is of course is the three big buzzwords these days, in my opinion. Working as a modern workplace expert with focus on Microsoft Viva Engage, intranets, and AI. And I'm a contractor, so I do work for multiple companies. One of them are Lightning Tools, which has a lot of different web parts and also like a permission control tool for SharePoint, and Mosaic 365, which is having an intranet product on top of SharePoint, basically. And then, of course, doing all that work, I do that for Dept here in Norway. And I'm also the host of a user group called Nivug here in Norway. And I also are the founder of Collab Days Oslo, which is a community conference that we run every year together with Martin. We will do the next one on 6th of December. You have all my contact details here on the screen, so feel free also to reach out after the session if you have any more questions around what we're going to cover today.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Martin Röverkamp. I'm a consultant for many years, based in Hamburg, and I concentrate my work on modern workplace, especially intranets and with the digital transformation with AI. I'm the organizer of Collab Days Hamburg and also Global AI Community Hamburg. You can also join me for the Hamburg SharePoint, which is a meetup, and we meet regularly just to have a pint and discuss about SharePoint and other stuff. And feel free to contact me on LinkedIn. So what are we talking today? What's the content of this session? Knut and I, we are like internet guys for many years, and our focus has been SharePoint for a long time and other intranet solutions. And since a few years, we have like AI supporting us doing internet content. And today we want to show you, okay, how can I use AI to create content? And then we come with the next step. We check the agents in SharePoint, because internet is not only information, also like the SharePoint has like the libraries, so you have documents and you need some information, you get some information. And how do we get this information? How can we use agents to get more employee experience and get better information? And Knut will do the demos. And then we have the question and answer. So the first, let's think about the content creators tasks. So the guys who will create the content for intranet. And so when you create, when you're responsible for intranet or communication thing, first you create the communication strategy. So you think, okay, what do I want to present? How do I want to present? And when? So when means, okay, I need to create a content plan, and then when do I want to publish it? The next step is like create and edit text. So find some topics to create it, write it down, and then when you did it, you need some related graphics and images. So you need to search. That takes a lot of time, or you need to create infographics, which also takes a lot of time. And then you create the pages, and finally you push it into a layout and publish the pages. So what can you do, or what do we want to cover today with our with our session? We want to have a look at how AI can support us with text creation or optimize the text. We can also check what about creating images and graphics. We will show how to create pages and the layout finally. So that's what we will have in the first demo. Did it change, Knut?
Hasn't changed yet. So
okay. So that's okay. And now we come to the demo part. The first demo part will be how to create pages with Copilot. And to enhance the text and the layout. Didn't change, Knut. You can take over and.
Yeah, I can take it. So yeah, so just as Martin described and talked about, this is the demo we'll run right now. So I will go out of the presentation mode on my screen and swap over to our demo environment. So here we can see that this is a traditional intranet page that could be built inside of SharePoint. This has been built with Mosaic and the elements they have. But of course, like what we want to do right now is to add content into our intranet basically, and luckily a little bit earlier this week, just in time for this session, we was a little bit scared that we wouldn't get it in time. We got the option to create pages with Copilot into our environment here. So to do that, you need to have a Copilot license basically also. So if you don't have a Copilot license, you will not be able to utilize this way of creating it inside of SharePoint itself. You can of course use like Copilot in the browser or in Edge as well to help you to create content, text, and all that kind of stuff. But the kind of the inline experience, as you can see here from the new button and page with Copilot, is only available if you have a Copilot license. So let's take a look and see how that works. And this is, as you see, a preview feature. So it's just released for customers or people that has the first release option on in the tenant basically. So it's not global available yet. So if you don't see it in your tenant, it just means that you haven't a first release switch on inside of your admin panel in a sense. So then you need to, the easiest way to test it out will actually be to create like a test tenant and add like a trial on Copilot there to kind of play with it, because it might be that your organization is not allowing you to basically go ahead and have like a first release version of the Microsoft bits on your tenant. So here, first of all, we see create with Copilot. We get an option to start with some templates, as you can see here. So that's a possibility. We see also that now with this template, we will create a news post, or we can select to create an article or a page. But for our specific example, we actually want to go and just write the text ourselves, basically in here. And we want to use a file that we already have, because a lot of organizations already might have a employee handbook, for instance, or another document that they want to use to populate the pages inside of SharePoint. So what we will try to do right now is to use the chapter employee code of conduct to create a page inside of SharePoint. Here, of course, we could use Copilot to create one page per chapter, or we can use Copilot to create basically one page with all the chapters if we want. So I can also show you the prompt that we can run if you want to create, like, for instance, one page based on the full employee handbook. But as you can see, this handbook is pretty long. It has like 34 pages. So with that, we need just to go ahead and basically, it will take too long time. We have tested it, so we don't want to do that right now. But let's go ahead and paste the text here. It will be quicker than for me to type it. So here we have create a page based on this reference document. Only use the document content and nothing else. Please create sections for each heading of the document. Don't make too long sections, keep it short and simple. We can also go ahead here and choose the tone of voice and how long the results should be. So for instance, like if you don't want to have a too long page created, we should choose the concise option. If you want to have a really long page, we will have to choose the longer one, but then we can go also to take a lunch break for it to wait to populate from 34 pages of a PDF document. But go ahead and here I will select add files. So I will go and choose my employee handbook. As you can see, I will not run this one right now. This was just to show you that we can also run it based on creating like from the full document. So with a small little adjustment of the prompt, we can create one that is just creating based on one of the chapters or sections, depending how you want to call it. So as you can see here now, I have one that is only use the document content and nothing else, but please create the page only based on employee of conduct section. So here, of course, I could have said one that is about leaving our company or benefits and perks instead. But right now we wanted to do the employee of conduct section from the reference document. We can choose tone of voice. So here I will go ahead and choose the, let's do the engaging one. And then under medium, where we have the length, just for the fact that we don't have more than 1 hour with Q&As, I will choose a concise one so that we don't need to wait too long for Copilot to create the page for us. I also will go up and here actually select page instead of news post. It might be that I need to paste it again, my text, but I have it here because I don't want this to be a news post. I want it just to be a topic page inside of my intranet. So make sure that you choose the right one up here because it doesn't understand it itself. You need to select it for it. Let's now click the generate button. And now the magic starts. Now Copilot will go ahead and creating our page and the layout and everything on the page for us. It will take a few minutes for it to start. But the nice thing is that we see a progress bar down here. So now you see that it's drafting content for dress code section. It's on 2.8 of what it should do, and it just sit and write the content for us basically. So, but it has like a really nice progress bar here so that you see that what is happening and so on. And you can also see how it also took in some pictures. It's trying to choose a little bit different layouts from the layout options from within SharePoint itself. But this is also what we're going to show now when it's finishing with generating, how we can easily also go ahead and modify those elements based on the other things that we have available here on our screen. So let us just let it keep running a little bit more. And while it does that, I can jump back into here and we can see that we have here, we had a paragraph about dress code. We had cybersecurity, of course, with internet, cell phone, corporate email, and so on, and conflict of interest and employee relationship. So if I will scroll a little bit down into my document here, and I will just scroll down and then I will stop. I know it's a little bit small delay on your end, but all this you don't need to read. I just want to jump to where I should show you the things. So I think actually I went too far down. So let's pull it up. So here we have conflict of interest and social media, corporate email, and so on. So we have all the and cell phone, as you can see here. Cybersecurity, this was one of the topics that we saw that we had from our chapter outline, basically. So now if you go back to our SharePoint page that is being generated, we can also scroll up while it still works and see we have corporate email here, we have cell phone, internet usage, we have cybersecurity and digital services. So you see that it is working and creating everything. And now if you are happy with what it generated, we can just click keep it. We can also give feedback to Microsoft, which they really appreciate of if we liked or not what was generated, or we can just disregard whatever it created. With disregarding it, it will not delete the page. It will just remove everything on the page that Copilot generated. So be aware of that. But for now, let's just click keep it. And here you see it put a pretty nice picture actually on the page. We have the text up here. But let's say that we didn't like this text like 100%, or maybe we want to change the title in here. Because as you can see now, if I select the title, I get the kind of the property pane or the whatever options we have available from the web part from Microsoft, but we don't have any Copilot button here. So I cannot go ahead and regenerate the title if I would want to do that, for instance. So to do that, the best way we can do it is actually just to copy this one, go down to the text box that is already created, and select it. And then we see that in the text box, we get the Copilot button or the Copilot inland available for us here. So to be able to kind of improve the text, you need to have it inside of a text box to do it inline inside of Copilot. So here we can go and adjust, for instance, make it more creative or more enthusiastic. And now it will regenerate a suggestion of another title for us. Was not that much better, but it was a bad example for that. But we can see here now we have 3 different alternatives that we are kind of used to from within you working with Copilot or with ChatGPT for that matter. Let's try this text instead. It's a little bit better. We can go and adjust. We can make it more enthusiastic. But this was just to show you how you can basically, even if you don't have the Copilot button up here, you can still just copy the text down and then later paste it back up here to utilize the same functionality. So here we see that we have one new text that we want to use. If you want to use it, you can just click replace, and now the text has been replaced inline. So that's actually how we can use also Copilot on existing pages that we might have if you would do like a review or a refresh of the content that is already created inside of SharePoint, because that's something we all should do from time to time. Basically, then we can get the help of Copilot without needing to copy the text from here, pasting it into another window, getting the help of Copilot, and then copying and pasting the text back into this window. But there's also more things that have been coming from Microsoft when it comes to helping us to create nice looking pages. For instance, we can see here that they also took whatever we had in PowerPoint for some time, where we can get design ideas on our presentations. We can also do that right now inside of SharePoint. So we can also get the help here to create more nice looking, appealing sections in a sense. So for instance, here we can get one which has an image. We can get this one that has an image behind. As you can see, we can also go to this section and do the same here. So this is a great tool for all the content producers out there that should sit and create content all the time that might not also sometimes lacking the skills to design things, because I'm not a designer. I'm not good in designing things, but here I can get some help. I can get some ideas to like make more engaging and nice looking pages. So that was kind of the possibilities of how Copilot can work within your SharePoint environment. All the things that we showed here, more or less, you can of course do with outside of SharePoint, besides of course the designer ideas here. But you can get help just by going to copilotmicrosoft.com to create content and so on. But of course, this is a much more integrated, much better experience for the content producers out there that is sitting like every day creating content inside of SharePoint. So if you have any questions around this, feel free to drop it in the Q&A section, and we will address them in the end of our presentation. But right now, let's just go back and talk a little bit about agents in SharePoint. So Martin.
Yeah. So after the first part with internet, how to present your information, now let's go deeper and check how to get information and how to get the information out of your documents, out of your libraries. And that's why we want to use agents. So the Copilot is assisting you with creating text and so on. And if you add business processes to it, you come to agents. So Copilot and agents make it possible to optimize your business processes. And that could be, for example, so that could be, for example, that you create autonomous agents, or you create agents within your SharePoint library, just like based for one topic, as we had been using the mobile apps in the very beginning. that we had like one app for the watch, one app for the calculator, one app for booking trains, one for the train schedule, and so on. And so this makes you more focused. It gives you more focused functionality. And so there's a difference between co-pilots and agents. The co-pilot needs and supports you as a human to you can discuss with this assistant. It's like your assistant. You can ask him. You might get the answer you want, or if you don't get the answer you want, you might predefine your prompt that you get the answer you'd like to have. And there are only co-pilots as you only have one co-pilot on your side. So on the other side, we have the agents, and we call this autonomously working processes before, not agents. We call them just like power apps, whatever, or logic apps, but now we can use AI and add it there. So let's check what we did. And we come to the next demo part. And again, it's Knut taking the demo part because his tenant is much far behind before so my tenant is behind him. So let's check the functionality of SharePoint agents. Knut.
Yep. Thank you, Martin. And let's just again jump from the PowerPoint into our demo environment. So as you saw, I think we will start with the number 1 demo as we showed in here. We have like 3 ones that we want to show you, at least. Maybe we can do more, depends on how much time all this takes. And the first one is the employee handbook, basically example again, because like one of the things with the Copilot or the SharePoint agents right now is that for it to function, it needs to have like a specific type of files that it can work on. Currently, it doesn't support to work on pages in SharePoint. So for instance, the page that we created here, employee code of conduct, which is like a SharePoint page, is not going to be able to work with that as a source of information when it comes to the SharePoint agent. So that's why it's great to offer different alternatives for the end users, because some end users might like to look for information based on the navigation, for instance. So they will click through like a navigation and click through and read the information themselves, and then kind of learn and understand what is possible, what is not. Some might want to have a Q&A basically. So for instance, we could have used Viva Engage, and then we can have created like answers in Viva, and then you could get the answers to whatever is in the employee handbook that way. Or of course, like the most modern way to do that right now would be to, of course, have an agent or to be able to ask inside of Copilot, what are the employee benefits, or what are the dress code in our organization, and so on. And that's why we also want to use the same PDF document that we have right here, because we already have it. We don't need to go ahead and create a lot of pages unless we want, or we don't need to kind of put all of this information into SharePoint or like as SharePoint pages. We can put some of it, but the rest we can reference in from the PDF itself. And then of course, with a SharePoint agent, we can use this PDF document as the source of our first agent that we're going to show you how to build. This could have been any other type of document. It don't need to be an employee handbook. It can be like documents showing, for instance, all the information about the different products that you're selling in the organization, like let's say washing machines, cars, whatever, and then this could be like the product document, and you could have used it in exactly the same way as what we show right here now. So it's a really great scenario for working with basically Copilot and SharePoint agents, specifically SharePoint agents. So where to start when it comes to this? So I will switch back to my SharePoint environment over here. We have pre-created some easy links to click for us, so it doesn't take any time. So I have like already here a navigation element called employee docs demo. This is just a document library in SharePoint, which in this specific example only have one file. So if you want the agent to work only with one file, you just select it, and then you go to the ribbon on the top here, and you will see that we have here the option that is create an agent that we just need to click. So I will just click this button. Then right now, actually, the agent is already ready in a sense. We could already start to use it if you want, but it's kind of like, you know, if you don't have an instruction manual for a car, or if you don't know how to drive a car, it might be difficult to drive it. So that's the same scenario that we have here for an agent, is that it's always better to give it a little bit more information than just click it and create it. So that's why we will click the edit button here. First of all, we have the name of the agent here. It's always important to choose names that make sense, because it will tell you what the agent do in a sense. Because as you can see here on the right side of my screen now, it's a preview how this agent will look and feel when you are enabling it. So you see that the name of the agent is Employee Handbook Agent. That is actually a pretty good name. And then we can put in a logo also if we want there. So it might be good to have different logos for different agents, because it's also easier to separate them from each other. And then here is a description of the agent. As you can see, this is an agent created based on content from selected file source. That is fine. We see that we have sources. Here I can go and change, modify the sources, add more sources. But for this specific agent, we only wanted to have one file, which is my PDF document. And of course, from let's say that you need to update the document because there are some changes in the organization, then you can always just upload a new version of the document into the document library, and that the agent will always use the latest version of the document. So it's really easy also to keep updating this and making everything to work. Then the last step here will be to look at the behavior. And here you see that we have quite a few important things to talk about. First of all, we have the welcome message. This is where everyone that will use the agent will get some information from you that build it to what this agent can do. So of course here it will be a lot better to write like, welcome, I'm the employee handbook agent. Ask me any kind of question from our employee handbook. By this, everybody understands what you can do with this agent, and it's a lot easier. Then we have the option to provide 3 starter prompts that we can give the people that should use the agent, basically. And this is where it's pretty important, because this is how we also will teach people, train people that should use it to what they can ask. So for instance, here we could have a question. We could of course create an FAQ, but that's not important right now. We want to ask like, what are the dress codes in our company, for instance. We can also ask other type of questions like, for instance, what rules do we have for sick leave, for instance. Like, these are questions we can ask. So here you need to think a little bit, because here in a sense it's the 3 most common questions you think people will ask, that is what you want to put here, because it's a lot easier for the people that should use this agent just to click here than to start to type themselves. And of course, the risk of having mistakes is also a lot less if you have pre-populated prompts. The last one is the instruction for the agent, where you will actually tell the agent what it should do, provide accurate information about the content in the selected file, and reply in a formal tone. So here you can kind of change the tone of your agent as well, and how it should act and behave. For right now, we will just leave it as it is. We'll get back to why it's important, how you describe your agent and what it tells you to do in our next demo that we will do. But now we can already test it out, as you can see here. So we can, for instance, just ask it what is the dress code in our company. And now hopefully it will go and give us that. As you can see now, we got a great answer. Our company official dress code is business casual. As you can see here, we also have the reference in here, which is the employee handbook, as we can see right here, right now. So that is good. And then, of course, we can also try and test run what the rules are for sick leave and see what kind of new results we get. So here you see that our company offers 1 week of paid sick leave. So really good, super easy for every company that has new people joining, because this is typically questions that everybody wants to get answered at some point of time. So let's now click save and see where this agent ends up, because that's also important, because I have now created it, but also we need to get other people to find it so that they will be able to utilize it. So now it's been saved. For some reasons, it keeps the window open here. It's by design, probably. Hopefully it will change, so it will close. But I will just close it myself, and then it comes up automatically with the view as you see right here. But if I will now go back to my home page of my intranet, as you can see here, then the perfect question will always be how to get to this agent from here. First of all, you can create a button that will just open up the same window as you just saw in a few seconds ago. Or we always have a Copilot button up here in the top M365 navigation bar, where we can actually just click the Copilot button. But here you will see that the default one here is what is called a site agent that is automatically created from Microsoft perspective, and that will search information of your SharePoint site. So sometimes that can be too much information. So for you to get to the right one, you see that I have to go and select, and then I need to go and select my employee handbook agent from here. So that's why, for me, like for end users, that might be too hidden, and that's why I always recommend to basically just adding a link to it, and then take it from there. But we can also see, we can also click the 3 dots here, and I can share it. I can also go and copy the link. So if I copy the link to it, as you can see here, this one we can paste other places. Or this could be the one that I will just go ahead and put, for instance, up here in the navigation, just to make it easy right now. We can go and put our link here, and we can just call like employee handbook agent. Open in a new window, maybe, click save, and now I have it here. And then you will see that we have it directly from the starting page of our intranet. Make it really easy for anyone to go and use it. So the only difference now is it's not on the pane of, or like the right side of the screen. It pops up in a separate window. We can also share the same one into Teams. So here I have already created a group chat together with Martin, because currently it's not supported to share an agent in a channel in Teams. You can only share it in a group chat. So, but here I can now paste the agent itself, and then you can actually go ahead and use the agent from within also Teams itself, as you can see here. But you saw that it redirected and opened a new one. So you need to click Add to Chat for it to be added 100% into the chat and not just a link. So let's just do that as well before we jump to our next demo. So now you see that I have my employee handbook agent added in here. So now we can actually just ask the same questions directly into the chat by, for instance, doing at employee handbook agent. What are the dress code in our company? Like that. And then it will start answering you. So of course, since it only works with chat, or group chat is slightly limited at the moment, but of course this is something that will be fixed later. And now it said that I need to first kind of go ahead and check the responses before it shows it. To kind of say that, okay, it's okay to share this. And then I can say that, okay, you don't need to ask again for the next 24 hours. So that's great. But again, it's like tomorrow, I will have to, again, give it permission to work and show the responses. So these are things, of course, that will change in the future. But right now, it makes it a little bit like complicated to use it within Teams itself. All right. So that was the kind of the in-depth description of the functionality, what you can do with a SharePoint agent. We're going to go a little bit quicker with the two other demos because we have, like, let's say 10 minutes left before we have Q&A. So if we jump back into our environment here, we also have one called resumes here. So with the resume demo, it's all about like having CVs of our employees in a sense. And then somebody in HR can use this agent to kind of go ahead and quickly check qualities of the candidates to help him or her to kind of make the right decision about who to hire. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. So as you can see here, we can also, in this, we have the top bar where it's written create an agent. So if you want to just create an agent based on every document that is in a folder or that is in a document library, you don't need to select them, because if I would have selected the 4 documents here now and click create an agent, if somebody else adds more resumes in here, they will not be a part of the agent. So that's why if you want to have possibilities to add more information for the agent to work on later, we should just create an agent based on the document library or the folder within the document library. So I did the same now, just click create the button. Then we can go ahead and click edit, because as you remember, we need to make it a little bit more intelligent. So here we see resume demo agent. We can have like ask me about resumes. Then we can go ahead and look sources. So here we see that we have the resume document library itself. We can go and look at behavior. And here at the behavior, of course, you'll change the text. Ask me about resumes with regards to experience, knowledge, and so on, just for now. But you remember all, I hope, that this needs to be informative, so it will be easier for other people to kind of understand what this agent do. Then here I want to have a starter prompt that is all about who can speak Spanish. I will have to have one that is about generate a resume of or a summary of all of them. And I also wanted to create a table so that I can easily go ahead and kind of compare the different candidates. Here on instruction of the agents, we will go ahead and write this one. So here, as I mentioned before, we can give specific instruction to how the agent should behave. So here I have written, you are an agent that should compare resumes based on selected files, sources, and provide informative answer based on questions asked. So let's click save and see what happens. And then let's go ahead and try and see if we can get who can speak Spanish. And whoa, now the agent told me that, hey, Knut, you have been a bad boy because now we have a responsible AI issue, so we are not allowed to help you. So you have to handle by yourself. And then you might ask yourself, why? Why did that happen? And that is because of how we are writing the instructions down here. Because for some reasons, when it comes to comparing resumes, the compare word here is the one that makes this responsible AI trigger in a sense, because I don't know why, but it just makes it a trigger. So for this one to work, we actually have to modify a little bit our instructions here. So I have another one prepared, which is just provide accurate information about the content in the select files and reply in a formal tone, which is the default one, as we could see before. So if you're building your own agents and you want to provide the instructions, be aware that you need to sometimes try an error to see if you get the proper instructions for the agent to behave how you want it to behave, because of the responsible AI. That, of course, is important that is there, but sometimes it can be also like a hassle. So let's try again to generate a summary of all resumes. And now you see now it works. And we have an agent that is working for us. And we can also go up and we can also ask it to create a table of our candidates with all the skills. And here you see that we have all our candidates going on here. And now finally it worked, because like when we tested it like 1 hour ago, it put the name of the candidates here, and then the experience, education, skill was going down. So I'm happy that it now worked. So for instance, if you go and click copy right now, we can of course go into here. Let's just take this page. And then we could actually go and paste it. And you see that it is a real table that we have here that could be used in multiple scenarios in a sense. So that is pretty neat and pretty awesome. So that was the other agent when it comes to the resumes, as you can see. Of course, we can click add advanced customization inside of Copilot Studio, but this session is not about Copilot Studio. I'm pretty sure that someone else is having a session around that, or you should always come and join the ESPC community in either Dublin in December or in Vienna for the Power Platform version, where people will probably talk about this. So for now, just click save. And I just want to show you one more thing that, of course, is important to highlight before we'll do it quickly on the last one, before we go to the Q&As, is that we see that the agent itself is just a file in here inside of your document library. And of course, to be able to create agents, you need to have designer permissions or higher inside of your SharePoint environment. So it's not that everyone in the SharePoint site can create agents. You need to have enough permissions to be able to do that. So that's also important to highlight. But since this is a file, I can also go in here and I can share it. So for instance, as you can see also on this pop-up window here, I can click share, and I can just go ahead and share it directly with, for instance, Martin or somebody else as well. Which is pretty nice, since this is just a file in a sense. But then the last one before we'll open the floor to Q&As is actually a pretty cool one, because like when you, for instance, need to compare some offers that you might get, then it might be difficult to understand which one of them are better. So in here we have a set of leasing offers on different cars. All of them German, of course, since we have Martin here that provided this. So this is like some Mercedes, some Audis, So this is really great because then you can kind of also get help to compare them. The cool thing about these files is that they're all also in German, which is actually pretty cool. And of course, I don't speak German, so I will feed my agent just in English. So let's see how that scenario also works. Again, we want to create an agent based on the full stuff here. We already created one, so I will just show you that one instead of doing create and show you the things. So we cheated a little bit and pre-created one, but let's go and click edit and take a look at it. So here you see the sources are again just the document library, because then we can upload more leasing contracts later. We can also see here that from the behavior we have told it like what it should do to other people so they will understand it. And we have the instruction. We just went with the default one here for now, but this is something that we can fine tune to get even better answers. Then of course we have our prompts that we created. So let's see that what it will do when we ask it to summarize. Remember, all those 5 files was in German. See here, this is like pretty awesome. Because even if I don't, I studied German 2 years in school, but I don't remember a lot of it. So here I can get a lot of nice information out of the documents, even without speaking a word German. So this I think is a really great usage scenario as well. Then of course we can go and ask it if I want to lease a car for 2 years with 20,000 kilometers a year. What car would be the best? So now it actually will have to go and do a small comparison to provide me with a good answer, I hope, or maybe it will be an AI answer that will be, sorry, I cannot help you. So let's see what it will do. We should have a drum roll now. So here you see that it actually suggested that the Audi Q5 Sportback should be the best based on the performance, the fuel efficiency, electric range, because it's a hybrid cars, and then insurance classes and leasing details when it comes to that. And it also referenced in the different cars here. So you see multiple of the car was the same Audi Q5, but we also had the Mercedes there. So apparently the Mercedes is not as good option as the other ones. So this is just yet another scenario where we can go ahead and build really quickly agents inside of SharePoint that could provide us with really valuable insights to the documents, even here in the foreign language, to people to make greater decisions and also spend less time on understanding all the kind of the content themselves, in a sense. And as you can see, all the documents are saved under, or like all the agents are saved under the document library where you create them. The site agent is stored in another location. It's stored under what is called the site assets library inside of SharePoint. But as you might have noticed, if you paid really good attention when I clicked it, and I click the 3 dots down here in the top right corner of the window we can see here, you have an option also to set it as an approved agent. So that is what site owners can do. When, for instance, if Martin would create an agent and he don't have site owner permissions on the SharePoint side, then somebody else that has the site owner permissions can go and review the agent and then set it as approved, so everybody else in the organization will have access to it as well, because when you do that, it will be available for everybody with also read permissions. So that was me talking for way too long as always. Let's just jump back and do a couple of slides before we will open up with the regards to the Q&As.
So yeah, so how can you get started? Okay, first you will need a license to use it, but if you have it, just try it out. Every SharePoint site includes an agent, and then you can try to enhance the search or the knowledge management in your environment with this kind of assistance. Try out, like Knut showed, to work with a description and especially the behavior of the agent, because this will cause some issues if you come into AI Act and responsible AI. Then you just need to modify it and try it out if you get better answers. And as Knut also showed, try it to add it into Teams, into the Teams chat, group chat, and to work together with your colleagues. If you have like a group chat regarding HR and you're discussing about the resumes, then it's really helpful to add this chat or this agent into your chat. No, not coming. Knut, can you click?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. So I think we will share the slides later, so you can just try out our summarize here for the agents. And finally, when you've done this, then you can extend your agents with Copilot Studio. Okay. Oops. So try this out, but this is another session. I think this will be covered by someone else. So do I have any questions?
Yeah, so thank you, Knut and Martin, for great presentation demos. So now we get into questions and answers part. Should you wish to ask a question, please feel free to type a question in this box now. So our first question is, as the file is under the document library, how can we handle accidental losses or changes, as many will have design rights? Any way to block this? Also, are agents part of pay-as-you-go?
Yeah, I can answer that one. So since it's a file, it has also like version history attached to it. So so you can kind of revert back to like a previous version of the file in case somebody will go ahead and make some weird changes that you don't want to have. And then of course with the payment option, yes, if your organization has enabled pay-as-you-go as an option when it comes to Copilot, then you can also use pay-as-you-go with the SharePoint agents.
Amazing. So the next question is, what kind of license do my colleagues need to have in order to utilize a SharePoint agent that I've created?
Copilot license would be fine for that.
Yeah, so either the Copilot license, as Martin said, or the pay-as-you-go version of Copilot. Yeah. So you don't need to pay the 30-ish euros or dollars a month. You could basically pay as you have a pay-as-you-go, because like if you don't need Copilot inside of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, then you will be okay with just paying for the prompts or the messages that you are sending into the SharePoint agent. And then of course you have a nice overview where you can go and check like how many of those you have and also the price of it. So that would be like a more affordable option than to have everybody in the organization to have a Copilot license.
Perfect. So just the next question there is, could you confirm that agents don't work with news/communication pages and only documents? If so, do you know if accessing content on pages is on the roadmap? A lot of companies have spent years creating communication news pages to share content and knowledge.
So the short answer is yes, it's on the roadmap. When it comes, we don't know. It is something that Microsoft is considering and thinking about. And of course, there are like ways that you can build a solution around it if you want, in a sense, because like if you will have a way of converting a page in SharePoint into a PDF, for instance, then you could make it work already right now. Like for instance, me and Martin and a good friend of us from the US called Kurt Rowland, we did like for a SharePoint hackathon, which was just like a week ago. We did create a skill assessment agent, which was actually doing those kind of things. It took like things from a Microsoft form and then populated a PDF, and then we used that to make the agent work on that. So if you cannot wait, there are ways around it, but I will suggest that it's easier just to wait a little bit.
Amazing. So this next question there is, we just yesterday discovered that if you include more than 5 files as sources, only the most relevant files will be searched through. Also, files should not be longer than 15 to 20 pages according to documentation. What are your recommendations regarding larger sources, in brackets, up to 20 items, such as entire libraries, folders, etc., and still get accurate results?
That would be basically to use Copilot Studio or even like building your agent outside of SharePoint. Like when it comes to the SharePoint agents, they are meant to have like a limited scope. So limited amount of files, limited length of the files. Currently, of course, we all know that with all the boundaries, this is something that will increase over time. So it's just like a current set of time right now. But of course, if you go ahead and, for instance, use like or Azure OpenAI, or use like the Azure Foundry, so you're building an agent with code instead of just with the click and point, then of course you will overcome those limitations.
Perfect. There's a lot of questions in Knut and Martin. Is there any chance they could message you directly on LinkedIn afterwards with their questions?
Yeah, sure.
That suits.
Yes, and of course, if you share all the questions with us, we wouldn't mind to do like a blog by just answering all the questions as well, if that works.
I can do that. Yeah, perfect. So I'll just do one more question if that's okay. So if I create an agent in SharePoint, any option to enable users not having a paid Copilot version to use this agent?
Can you repeat that question, please?
Yeah. So if I create an agent in SharePoint, any option to enable users not having a paid Copilot version to use this agent?
Okay. As we mentioned before, this is of course a licensing question. So either, like currently there are only 2 options, which is either the pay as you go option, where you pay like $0.01 or so per message, but the message is not a prompt. So a prompt could be like 5 messages or 10. Nobody actually really knows that. So you need to test it out to see how many messages actually goes. So that is like the only way you can use the SharePoint agents currently, or to have like the full Copilot license, which is of course costing like 30 euros or $30 ish per month, basically. But at least right now you can sign up with pay by month schedule, and not like a yearly commitment. So it's kind of like a better option to also test it out and try it out. And we also shouldn't forget that with the Copilot license right now, you also get included the SharePoint Advanced Management license, which is also pretty cool, which is like a different topic, and maybe Jamal, which will come at 3 o'clock today, we'll talk about that. I don't know, but at least that's something to also think about, that with the Copilot license, you get actually additional license included for free, basically.
Amazing. So that's all the time we have for today. So that's the end of today's webinar. You can find this webinar and more at sharepointeurope.com/resource center. Thanks again for all of you for joining us today, and I hope you join us again soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.